In the night, we see an army of demons that are wreaking havoc in a local town. They are merciless in their attacks, but then we see a sage on top of a dragon, making an epic appearance. He uses his spells to kill the demon army, and then he uses his dragon to kill the only surviving demon. He ends up saving a man and his children, but then we are taken to a scene in the future where the sage is dying inside a burning house. He laments that he's been cheated by his own people and has failed his pupils. The sage talks to his star pupil and promises that he is going to make up for the wrongs that have befallen him. He performs a magic ritual, and then we are taken further into the future, where the sage is reborn as Seika, a normal human who has no mana to perform magic. He is taken in by his father, Blaze, who had him through a concubine. However, Seika is mistreated by his older brother Gray, who calls him spilled milk. One day, Gray tries to bully Seika, but he uses his summoning skills to call the crows to attack him. His older brother Luff shows up to drive the crows away and wonders what made them attack Gray. Seika carries on with his life, even though everyone looks upon him as an illegitimate child. Now we meet Effa, who is a slave girl serving the family. Seika behaves nicely with her, but Gray shows up to mock him once again. He tells Seika that he will never make it to the Rodney Magical Academy that he's getting enrolled into. But Blaze shows up and tells Gray to behave himself. The boys go for a magical training session, and even Seika tags along for it. The brothers put on an impressive show of power, but then Gray taunts Seika by telling him to give it a shot. Our hero doesn't care about this, so he says he'll try one round as well. He unleashes a powerful blue fireball, which shocks everyone including Blaze. Seika asks his father if he can also study magic, but he refuses this request because there are no cases of magicians existing without mana. Regardless, Blaze still hires Seika as a tutor. Time passes by and Seika continues to increase his powers. He thinks back to his previous life, where he would steal countless spirits and then he tries to summon a spirit of his own. He manages to summon a cute little girl named Yuki. She used to be an old woman in her past life, but now she is an excited child who rubs herself against Seika out of happiness. Our hero asks her to calm down, and then he learns that Yuki might be young because of his curse effect. Yuki says that Seika can do whatever he wants to her, but he says that this was just a test to see if he could summon spirits. He decides to turn Yuki into a little pet to avoid raising suspicions from others. The next day, Gray scolds Effa once again when she accidentally spills a jug. Seika watches on as Gray acts creepy with Effa and tells her to come to his room at night. He immediately walks in and stops Gray, who punches him as a retort. However, our hero blocks the punch and shoos his brother away. Now Effa and Seika check out a wounded beast, and she feels bad to see it in this condition. Seika decides to heal the beast with his paper magic, but keeps his power hidden from Effa. She thinks that Seika is just as strong as Luff and Gray, and then he tells her that he knows she can sense animal spirits. This leads Effa to show off her own magic, but she says that the spirits try to avoid Seika. He asks Effa if she can command these spirits, and says she's been able to do it once. This prompts our hero to gain an interest in Effa, so he tests her out. Seika secretly uses his paper magic to summon a flame, and then he asks Effa to put it out. She tries a couple of times and is able to succeed after she screams. Seika is pleased to see this, so he and Effa begin their training. The two of them get closer as time passes by, and now it's Seika's birthday. However, he doesn't get any special treatment, as Gray says he's going to train Seika to join the army because he can't let an illegitimate child run the family. Luff tells Gray to speak more respectfully, and then a Mage shows up to tell the boys that a monster newt has showed up in the forest. It doesn't take long for the monster to reach the mansion, so Gray runs away like a coward. The newt monster shows up next to Effa and another maid, and is about to attack them. But Effa manages to temporarily stop it with her soul flame. Seika witnesses this and then he makes his appearance. To everyone's surprise, Seika performs an ultimate exorcism on the newt monster and defeats it with one simple move. Everyone in the mansion witnesses this, and they applaud our hero for his brilliant display of power. Among those in amazement is Blaze, and as a reward, our hero is presented with a delicious meal. Luff praises Seika, but Gray is extremely jealous of what his stepbrother has accomplished. Blaze offers another reward to Seika, so he asks if he can enroll into the Rodney Magical Academy. He adds another shocker by asking Effa to join him as his attendant. Blaze says that Seika will have to clear the entrance exam, and Effa will also have to show her magical potential. This is not an issue for our heroes, as Effa shows off her amazing firepower with great control. This convinces Blaze to grant Seika's wishes, but Gray loses his cool and goes on a lengthy rant about how a slave and some spilled milk shouldn't represent his elitist family. As a counter, Gray is told by Blaze that he will go and represent the Imperial Army instead of Seika because he's been useless over the past years. In a moment of desperation, Gray challenges Seika to a duel, and he accepts readily. Later, Yuki pops out of Seika's head for some fresh breath, but she has to hide again when Luff shows up at his door. Luff gives Seika a precious pen as a present for his birthday, and also apologizes for being distant from him in general. After Luff leaves, Seika checks out his present along with Yuki. But then Gray shows up and challenges our hero to a duel right now. He doesn't want to get humiliated in front of his parents, so he orders Seika to concede the duel tomorrow if he loses tonight. Our hero has no issue with this, so Gray unleashes his most powerful moves on him without any restraint. They do nothing to Seika, and then he tortures Gray with his voodoo paper magic. Gray eventually gives up without a fight, and then Seika lets him live. In a flashback, we see Seika summoning Nudo, who is a giant cyclops. It so happens that Nudo was the one who provoked the newt monster from earlier to come attack the mansion, so that Seika could show off his powers. Now that Gray has conceded the duel, Seika and Effa get ready for the academy, and they bid Luff farewell. On their way, Seika gives Effa a mana stone that will allow her to attract more spirits. Our hero is enthusiastic about his chances, but then he gets motion sickness due to the carriage's movement. As Seika and Effa reach the Rodney Academy, Blaze thinks back to the time he was first presented with Seika, who is actually his brother Gilbert's child. We learn that it was Seika's early use of magic that made his brothers wary of him, and it even prompted Blaze to think that Seika was a hybrid demon child. He suspects that the newt monster seemed to have died of poisoning, which is what prompted him to avoid sending Seika to the army. As Blaze wonders whether Seika is an angel boy or a demon spawn, our hero gets comfy in his room with Effa. He tells her that she can go to her own room, but she wants to stay here with him. Seika can take a hint and simply assumes that Effa is hungry. She walks away disappointed. And then Yuki pops up to mock Effa for being romantic with her master. Seika doesn't take Yuki seriously, so she says she'll help him understand girls rather than magic. It's time for the entrance exams, so Seika and Effa go for their registration. The students are amazed to see someone from Blaze's family over here, and are further shocked to learn that Effa is a slave. Now it's time for our heroes to test their magical affinities, but Seika doesn't attract any light from the crystal orb. This makes the other students judge him, so Effa starts to leak fire out of anger. Now a commoner named Amu shows up and assesses her magic. She is shown to have all 4 elemental traits, and is readily registered. Seika seems to recognize her from his past life, but she simply rebukes him because she thinks he's using his family status to get enrolled into the academy. Seika and Effa get done with their written exams, and while our hero does well, Effa isn't happy because she didn't have any prep time. Now it's time for practical exams, but no one really impresses till it's Effa's turn. Her flame blast is so powerful that it amazes everyone and even melts the fire-resistant target boulder. Her wind powers are also mind-blowing, and Seika is pleasantly surprised to see this. Now it's Seika's time to shine, and he casts blue flames much to everyone's disbelief. It doesn't end there, as his earth and ice powers also shock everyone, including instructors. The results come out and Seika places third, only below Effa and Amu. After getting enrolled into the academy, Seika avoids an awkward chat with Effa over her skirt size, and then they head out for a walk. The couple notices a suspicious symbol on the ground, so Seika leaves behind one of his magical papers to investigate it. Amu is elected as the student representative, and she kicks off a speech. But the hall is suddenly invaded by lesser devils. The lesser devils are immune to standard magic, so Amu uses her sword to fight them off. Seika uses a paper spy and spots a metal demon named Gal, who is using the suspicious symbol to summon these monsters. Our hero goes to confront the overpowered demon and introduces himself with a poem. He toys around with Gal, so he gets attacked by a devil army, but is able to take them down with ease. Gal decides to fight Seika by himself and is shown to be a pro at dark magic. He is able to see through Seika's paper powers and dominates him without any mercy. Our hero is a bit arrogant during the battle, and it eventually costs him an arm when Gal slashes at mid-air. Now the overpowered demon reveals he's looking for the legendary hero, who is prophesied to put an end to the devil army. He reveals that this hero is Amu, and he wants to get rid of her before she attains true power. Gal unleashes his ultimate finisher move, and seemingly chops off Seika's head, but our hero revives himself and taunts the metal demon. The both of them get into a fierce fight to the death, where Seika uses water and thunder to hurt his demon opponent. he suddenly gets ripped through his chest, but this was just a trick to land an explosion on Gao. Our hero makes fun of his opponent for not studying enough, so the overpowered demon challenges him to another round. Seika simply summons his paper army and unleashes an epic dragon, which easily kills Gao with a simple bite. However, the dragon tries to escape, so Seika has to use more paper soldiers to send it back to its dragon dimension. Yuki appears and hugs her master, after which they go back to the academy hall. Here they find Amu, who has killed all the lesser devils with her almighty sword. Seika figures he'll become friends with Amu and make her the strongest warrior in the world, just like he was in the past. That wraps up the first part. Like, share, and subscribe if you want me to continue. See you soon!